Forecasts 2016 The Truth and Justice Year. It takes a long time for humanity as a collective, begin to meet and openly discuss issues reserved for truth and justice. Increasingly out of the shadows during 2015, the awareness of these issues began to reach a critical mass. Yes, over the centuries, we had an infinite number of revolutions, atrocities and wars rooted in these areas. The difference in 2016 is a growing recognition of what is at stake if these issues are not addressed. Great opportunities to change how we live together, often the way a year-end sets the stage for next year. Issues and unresolved issues that have reached a boiling point in a year tend to remain front and center. This is certainly the case in 2016, a year in which we, as a collective, we have great opportunities to change the way we live together on Earth. When we study nature, watching the mass extinction of the species and other human-induced problems such as climate change, we have a test of how life here has become precarious. Climate change, in fact, is one of the problems linked to truth and justice. The whole notion of climate change has turned into a political vehicle, putting a shadow on the truth of what is happening and slowing constructive action. At the same time, rising sea levels and unproductive farmland will become potentially an injustice to millions of poor people around the world. While rich countries can afford to live up to difficulties, at least for a while, the poor do not have these options. Cosmic Energy Light and Injustice. Say yes to disloyalty. In 2016, the cosmic energies will put a spotlight on lies and injustice throughout society. Already we had a taste of it, because of the Uranus-Pluto's long dance that catalyzed a mega reshaping our world. The necessary changes are affecting how we relate to others, the basic levels. They involve long-established patterns of bargaining power, inequality, oppression and concealment of information by those in power as a means of control. Necessary social changes do not come easily, so much remains to be revealed. It is important that each of us remain strong, and our training, inner strength and concentration on the heart will be needed to face the ups and downs. We will need to be present and attentive to what we are creating with our thoughts and actions. Role of change as divine agents. As divine agents of change, we know that we are quantum, creating our future, one moment at a time. We are at the forefront of major changes that are happening now. This is a role encoded into our own DNA. Each of our paths leading to far, including the start of this life and past lives, led to this paper. If you felt like it had been through a burning time of changes in 2015, we know that the set and helped him for this next stage. The biggest changes are not easy to do, you will feel them deeply, often at their core. Even before 2015, you went through some big changes. On the other side now, you're stronger, fuller, more tolerant and more loving. These qualities are vital to your lighting and for planetary influence that his light will. What this means. Each time you become more complete and more loving, help humanity as a whole and raises awareness across the globe. Do not underestimate the power of it. When you see injustice and lies, remember your role. Do the best you can to incorporate justice and truth originating in love. Be a neutral observer. American Samoa, 2016, forward. Things that separate people will be in the spotlight. This includes everything from the obsolete laws, social structures, prejudices and dictatorial regimes. The conversation can be noisy, confusing actions, when people on both sides resort to fear and pointing his finger. There is good news in it. The noise and confusion attract the most attention and has the potential for major changes that are needed now. Keep this in mind throughout 2016, when things ignite. Instead of entering in fear or anger about how long the changes are driving, use each case to go inside and see how the external changes can be applied to internal changes you can make. A shift in inner vision can make it more effective and perhaps launch a new element of how you serve the world. Take things to the personal level first. Instead of getting angry with a confusing world, it gives you a power anchored spiritually. For healing and transformative change, the issue should be brought to light and seen for what they are. Do what you can to stay neutral while you process the media discussions and news. There is much fear in the air. This should be brought to light in order to change the status quo. Inherent to the human condition is a response learned based on fear of the unknown. There is nothing new in this, of course. What is different now is the cumulative effect of increased awareness and the number of people who are connected in real time to what is happening globally. The labeling of people, religions and countries based on fear should be avoided if we want a peaceful world. This is not always easy, even for those on the path of awakening. Fear and harmful conditioning is strong. All have. So watch their reactions when hearing about refugees settling in your city, or the nearby construction of a place of worship involving a faith different from yours. From a higher perspective, knowing that we are eternal beings with many lives before this, we were all, at some point, a refugee. Even considering this life, if you follow your lineage in the past, do not you think that some of them were refugees? Fear and separation forces have been intertwined in our society for thousands of years. While people are afraid of their neighbors and see others as outsiders, humanity remains mired in endless battles and senseless. Similarly, when uneducated people are not equipped to express themselves in a competent manner. The lack of culture is more than a lack of education, is also misinformation served by the media, controlled by the elite. Tips for Change Agent for Divine 2016. As you know, this is not your ordinary life and you have no way of ordinary life this time. You are an agent of divine change, choosing to be awake to their greatest adventure. Here are some tips to help you get through 2016 with relative calm and empowering. I use the relative word here, because you will have, of course, ups and downs with stress, while your world continues its mega restructuring. First, know what is coming: a time when truth and justice prevail on earth. Think quantum way and the big picture when considering this. Consider the reverberations of apparent setbacks along the way, trusting that love can remove even the biggest obstacles. Love is the most powerful alchemy there. Second, if you find yourself reacting strongly to an injustice in the news, consider that at DNA level some of the issues of injustice of their own ancestors may have been stimulated. Internalize and explore it. They feel that their ancestors suffered an injustice and you may be holding some of her pain in her DNA. Seek healing at this level. This will help you and your ancestors. Third, stay in touch with your body and feelings, so you can respond consciously and appropriately to the events of life. You are meant to be alive now, through these moments. Your body can sometimes have unusual symptoms while you process things. Suddenly, for example, you can get tired for no apparent reason. Tune into your body, and if you need a short break or rest, do it. Similarly, if you get emotional, check with yourself to know why. Process the feeling before engaging with the world so you can be safe and effective. Strive to be more insightful. Question your questions. Do this for an increase of discernment and clarification. Example, when something rings true for you and you have received an indoor validation that appears to validate the truth, ask more questions. If you hear something scare you, ask why. Higher truths do not generate fear. Reasons why you might be afraid: 1. The messenger of truth describe things for handling purposes. 2. Your own subconscious programming based on fear. 3. What you heard is only part of the larger story that it was not presented. Facts are facts. The presentation of facts is another matter. Be careful when digest facts to verify the underlying meanings and potential agendas. Sometimes a presentation can be tilted so that a person or group earn money, to convince him that they are the ones with the information and you should come to them to have the answers, or stay safe in some consequence. Be aware. Fifth, since the truth is a key theme for 2016, previously hidden truths come increasingly to light. Regularly intends to find out things that have retained. Invite the vision of the spirit of their hidden blockages to enlightenment, including what prevents it from being fully open, loving and compassionate. Include in the image. You should start with self-love and self-acceptance before you can accept someone. Sixth, since the justice it comes to fairness, and in 2016 more unfair practices of society will be revealed, to internalize, to understand their personal triggers justice. These can be large or small: to discover that he was paid half the salary of others, or feel that your roommate in a 2-bedroom apartment has the best room. Observe these things. In your outer world during the crisis, when you see something wrong, Do not look away and pretend it's not there. Go to your heart and your spirit for a higher vision in response to what you see from this space. Show others what it means to be conscious, awake and centered in the heart during the crisis. 7th, no matter how much darkness you find, the light is always there. Invite a connection with this light daily, in yourself and in others. Trust that you never walk alone. The Spirit is always with you.